can speak to a lot.
Now, for the challenges we've all had this year, do you think the Olympics in Tokyo could become a celebration for the world?
I think so, and I think it could be really, really huge. Because the Olympics offers something different than the Super Bowl or NBA championship. This is the whole world we're talking about here. But one day at a time. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But I think it can be exactly that. I think it can be viewed as a celebration and a competition.
The world's and Commonwealth gold medal winning swimmer Karen Pickering and the American journalist Philip Hirsch are still with me on Sports World. Philip Drexel has already got experience, hasn't he, of winning 2 relay golds in Rio. What sort of expectations are on his shoulders then in Tokyo?
Michael Phelps, because I think you can fairly safely say there won't be an ex-Michael Phelps in the foreseeable future. Caleb has got a great chance to win several gold medals. Butterfly, freestyle, relays. So I think, he's kind of reduced the pressure on himself a little bit. The whole notion of being the next Phelps was completely taken off the table. So, in terms of what I think about swimming, because a number of many athletes are in more than one event, swimming lends itself to a narrative more than perhaps any other Olympic sport, because you'll go from one event to the next event. And did you win the gold medal when you were supposed to? Didn't you win the gold medal when you were supposed to? And it goes on. So we'll have a chance to appreciate Drexel and see how that narrative develops over time. And to me, the same thing is true with Katie Ledecky and Ariane Titmus, which is going to be one of the most interesting matchups of these games. Katie has utterly dominated world distance swimming, certainly from 2013 on at the London Olympics, and then became the dominant figure. And in the last year, particularly this season, Katie has not been near what her past times were. Ariane Titmus of Australia has the world-leading times in the 200 and the 400-meter freestyle. So the 400-meter freestyle is on the second day of the Olympic Games. That's going to be incredibly any competition, particularly as it goes like the rest of the games, with Katie probably being the favorite in the 800 and the 1500.
Yeah. Looking at Karen Drexel, we'll get on to the winner in a moment. But what attributes makes her so dominant, particularly in that 50-meter freestyle event?
Well, the main thing, he has the most phenomenal start. I mean, his vertical jump, I believe, is as good as the NBA basketball players. He just has this reach into the water and hits the water about 1 metre clear of the best swimmers in the world who are then playing catch up. And you can't walk that much away over a race that's 21 seconds at the 50 freestyle. So he's incredibly skilled, incredibly talented, very, very strong swimmer. But those sprint races, they're all so close. They really come down to the minute details, and they're tough races to win. It's going to be very, very close. There's a depth of talent over the 50 freestyle. We have the Russian Moritov and Brittany Benthouse, who's been swimming well. Farah Nanadu, who the 2012 Olympic champion in 50 freestyle, who made a comeback. We probably haven't seen quite the best of him since he's come back in the call, and you just can't write someone like that off. So none of the races that Caleb swims are easy races to win. They're very, very tight, and there's a lot of talent. And I think one of the interesting races for me, the men's 100 metres freestyle. The world rankings at the moment, leading the world rankings is a 16-year-old David Kovici, the young Romanian who's just launched himself onto the scene this year. I was very impressed with him at the European Championships, and then he went on to the European Juniors and set this world-leading time. And he'll be going out to Tokyo. Might be a race too far in one time, but again, 16 years old, almost going into the Olympic Games, and it'd be exciting to see someone like him up racing Caleb Drexel.
The youngsters, they have nothing to lose. One thing we haven't spoken about, Karen, is the times of these finals. I know in Rio they started at 10 p.m, didn't they? But they've been switched to the morning session in Tokyo, to better suit the US TV networks, I believe. How difficult will that be for the swimmers to adjust to?
I think it's a frustration for the athletes when something gets moved for TV and for TV timings, because it's not ideal to have finals in the morning. The swimmers aren't at their best. They kind of would like to be swimming in the evening, and then to come back after a final in the morning, and then, as Philip said earlier, the swimmers swim a lot of races, so to potentially come back in the afternoon and having a night's sleep and coming back the next morning to start another race. So having the finals in the evening, and the swimmers who know the program, they will have trained for it. They'll be trying to, not the way that they would write it, given the program, if they had the choice.
No. Philip, the Olympics are breaking new ground as well, aren't they? For the first time, we'll see a 4x100 metre mixed medley relay. How's that been received, do you think?
I don't think many people in the United States, those people who are aware of swimming, which is more now since our trials got massive television coverage on NBC, but I think it's going to be one of those things that sneaks up on people. It's certainly fun because you figure out how you're going to put this team together. You're going to start with the two men and have them build a huge lead and hope that the women can hold on. You're going to mix the women in between. It's a fascinating, thing tactically how you do this. It could be a very, very exciting race. One of the longer the races in terms of relays, the more fun they generally are. I mean, the 4x200 meters freestyle, we've often seen someone come from impossibly far behind in a leg of that to wind up winning the gold medal. So yes, it's going to be interesting. The same thing, of course, is in track and field as a mixed relay. So it'll be interesting to see that as well.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that one. Karen, you're British. I can't obviously not ask you about Adam Peaty. I mean, he's dominated the breaststroke division, hasn't he, for so long now. He has the 15 fastest times, is it, in history over the 100 metres. He's improved. He just gone and improved, hasn't he, since Rio. Can we expect another gold for Adam Peaty?
Well, I think of all the swimmers in the pool, he is the biggest favourite to win an event. He's over a second clear of the second fastest swimmer. He's broken 57 seconds. Only one man in history aside from him has broken 58 seconds. A long way ahead of the rest of the field, so he can make mistakes. He can be off his best and still win Olympic gold. That's not how he will want to be. We've seen him swim some great races already at the Olympic trials. He looked really sharp at the European Championships and surprised himself with the times that he was swimming. He's just an incredible athlete, such an exciting swimmer to watch, so dominant, so strong, so powerful. His raw strength comes in the second half of his race. He's not that quick off the start, but when he gets his hand on the wall at 50 metres, it's generally in a time that a lot of other swimmers can only swim a 50 in, and he's able to turn and come back off that, and that is just phenomenal fitness, the ability to keep his stroke rate going, and his timing, which is so important in breaststroke swimming. And he's just such a fierce competitor. So despite the fact that he has dominated the event for so long, he's unbeaten since 2013 on the 100 breaststroke at a major championship. But he still wants it. He still has the fire in his belly. He still wants to do more, and I think that's really exciting. And obviously, relays as well. He's a key part of the men's medley relay for Great Britain, and also for the mixed medley relay. And interestingly, talking about how he's seen the races, ideally you would put the men first in the going off on the first two, and we have that ability to kind of factor Adam Beaton on that breaststroke, but he might be up against like Ian King, who's so strong for the USA, and you get these weird mismatches, and then you might have Taylor and a British female swimmer in the closing stages of the race. So it really does make for a very, very exciting role, and the possibility that Adam could come back with more than one gold medal.
Wow, it'll be an exciting swimming competition. Anyway, you've sold it really well, Karen. Listen, it's been fantastic to get your thoughts. That's pretty much it for our Olympic free review on Sports World. My thanks to Karen Pickering, the World and Commonwealth gold medal winning swimmer, and Alison Turbishley-Spencer as well, Commonwealth 400-metre silver medalist. And it was great to speak to you, Philip Hirsch, who's been reporting on Olympics since 1984. Stay safe, like you say. You're both staying, all three of you are staying at home, aren't you, reporting on the games. Stay safe and enjoy the Olympics as much as you can, but hopefully, like Philip says, we don't get too many more cases of COVID throughout the next 2 or 3 weeks. Fantastic hour on Sports World. I'm Deli Floyd. Coming up in the next hour of Sports World, we'll be focusing more on the Olympics, but also we'll be touching base at Royal St George's in the southeast of England, because there's been a massive pendulum swing on the final day of the Open Golf in favour of Americans Colin Morikawa. He now has a 3-shot lead through 10 holes, 14 under par. Jordan Spieth 3 shots behind through 11 holes, and Louis Oosthuizen is about 4 shots away off the lead. Stay tuned. BBC News with a growing number of Olympic athletes and officials have either been infected with coronavirus or are in quarantine just 5 days before the games begin. Michael Distory reports. 3 members of the South African football team have COVID. Other group members are now in isolation. 6 British competitors and 2 support staff are also in quarantine. 8 members of colony infected first on their flight to Japan, and a South Korean member of the International Olympic Committee tested positive when he arrived at Tokyo Airport. On Sunday, Japanese leaders hosted Olympic officials at a reception. They'll all be hoping the number of cases and those in isolation is not rise rapidly and threaten the smooth running of the Games. Chancellor Merkel says Germany must fast improve its efforts to tackle climate change. She was speaking during a visit to the west of the worst chance in decades.
Wir müssen uns sputen, wir müssen schneller werden.
Faster in our fight that the European Union is working on neutral by the middle of the century is something that matters. The Chancellor added that the government would need efforts. The number of people confirmed dead from the floods in northwest Europe has risen to 113. The leader of the Taliban has said the group strenuously favours a political settlement in Afghanistan. Members of the Taliban are meeting representatives of the Afghan government for peace talks in Qatar. Meanwhile, the Taliban are continuing an intense military offensive, making rapid territorial gains. Leave the Senate is in Doha. A joint declaration may seem like an insignificant result, but even that's proving hard when the Taliban and the government remain far apart on all the issues. The Taliban's main goal is the establishment of an Islamic system. They've been reluctant to discuss the political roadmap, but the government is determined to protect the system, which now includes an elected president and parliament. Both sides say they want a political solution, but it means very different things to each side. There's pressure on the negotiating teams, as well as Qatar, to achieve something in this round of high-level talks, especially when the war and the suffering intensifies across Afghanistan. The world's oil producers have agreed to increase their output, aiming to rein in prices and ease pressure on the struggling global economy. Plans for the OPEC cartel and its partners to boost supply were threatened earlier this month by a row between Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. More oil from the BBC. The police in Thailand have used rubber bullets, water cannon and tear gas on hundreds of anti-government protesters in Bangkok. The demonstration protesting the government's handling of the coronavirus. Cases are rising sharply in Thailand as elsewhere in Southeast Asia. The protests are being fueled by general anger at the Prime Minister, Prayut Chan-o-cha, who came to power. The British Prime Minister has reversed plans to carry on working from the office amid an outcry that he was dodging coronavirus. The Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, both received official coronavirus alert. And the Prime Minister acknowledged Wood's press responsibility
briefly to the idea of us
Underway is Tadej Pogacar of Slovenia, taxi-car champion for the second year running, when they reached the Champs-Élysées in Paris. The British specialist, Mark Cavendish, is in for a record 35th stage win, which will put him ahead of the mark set by Evan Wood of Belgium in 1975. BBC News. Sports World with Derek Lloyd, live on the BBC World Service. Hi there, welcome back to Sports World. We'll start this hour once again with golf. Seconds before the end of the programme, we could have a new Open champion. And the leaderboard is all changed since we were left at Royal St George's. Colin Morikawa now leads out on his own on 14 under par, with overnight leader Louis Oosthuizen having dropped down to third. Let's head live to the course in southeast England. James Gregg is there for us. James, well, we talked about Morikawa playing with the freedom of youth. He's been doing
He started off not good. The sixth hole. He then bounced straight back though. An eagle on the seventh hole, and then a birdie at 9 and a birdie at 10. So he is through 12 holes. He is 3 back. But at the moment, this course isn't that scoreable. And I think down the closing hole in a major championship, it'll be interesting to see if Colin Morikawa can hold up under the pressure.
Will Louis Oosthuizen be kicking back to talking a couple of the shots?
I think, yes, that certainly does. He bogeyed the fourth and the seventh hole, and the seventh hole is the hole that eagle. So, that is you know, yes, well, all the bounces and all the luck went for him, but that's a birdie hole and he's made a bogey on it. So yes, little things like that you could do going your way, but they have got the back nine and things can change really, really quickly, particularly on this golf course.
Anytime, James Gregg, great to have you with us live once again on Sports World. Gosh, you want the pendulum swing once more. 3 shots from Jordan Speed through 11 holes. We will have some brilliant live cuts on BBC World Service in the next 10 weeks, one athlete shares their personal story about the journey they took to start on sport's biggest stage. And in this hour of Sports World, we'll give you a flavour of what to expect. The series is presented by Paralympian Scott Skerrill-Classic, comedian Eliza Skinner, and our athletics commentator Ed Harris.
Hi, Dennis. On the podium, it started with a very simple question. How can I get to do that? How can I be an Olympic or a Paralympic medalist? But as soon as you start trying to answer that kind of question, you find out pretty quickly it's got really not very much at all to do with how somebody trains or their diet or any of that kind of thing. It's much more about why do these sports people do what they do? How did they find their sport, or how did it find them? What about circumstances beyond their control? What did they do on wrong? What this all boils down to is an athlete, a comedian, and a journalist walk into a bar and meet an Olympian or a Paralympian. How is that conversation going to go? There was no bar, unfortunately, because we did all of this remotely. So it is Scout, Eliza, and me welcoming these great sports people, past and present, all with a tale to tell. And to get the ball rolling, we've been through their photo albums as well, finding key moments for them to tell us all about. My main takeaway from all of this is that there isn't one way to succeed. All of our guests across the 10 episodes did it their way, but they've got traits in common. They are all ridiculously competitive, for example. And my co-host, Eliza and Scout, we've become friends. We can't wait to meet face to face in the near future, we hope, and we can't wait to make some more of these as well. If you like the message that you're about to hear, search for On the Podium from wherever you get your podcasts.
Time we got on with the show and introduced our guest. Ed, who's on the podium?
Joining us today, a gold medal winning rower from London 2012 in the men's lightweight coxless 4. 4 men in a boat who won South Africa's first ever Olympic gold in rowing. Our guest is the only member of that quartet who's black. His route onto the water, into his first boat, and finally onto the biggest stage of all was unlike anybody else's at that time. He showed what was possible. Iswe Ndlovu, you are on the podium.
Thank you very much, Ed. Good to be here.
Iswe, we are so excited to have you. We've actually bagged up a few photos from your past and your career. Let's take a look at one of them. Ed, what do you got?
This is a sporting achievement, and Iswe is his podium moment at the London. The lake at Eton is in the Olympic ring, and at the winning 4. Medals newly placed around their necks, bouquets in their hands, arms round each other's shoulders, standing as one. Even now, Iswe, the best part of what, 9 years later, what emotion does that moment still stir within you?
It was very good fun.
Were you aware of that might play your country? Tell us a little bit about the
It's changed right now. The period of one Olympic medals or another race. It wasn't the same thing because what I was taught and then he finished the race, I was running around and going to BBC Road and going to that and going to that, Q for free for free, all that stuff. It only sank in when I got back home. When you arrive at the airport, the whole nation is there. The media, you just put in the blue lights brigade. The next thing you were going to school, the next thing you were talking to corporate. I think 6 months later when things settled down, that to the point and I realized that, you've done something bigger than so was Olympic medal. And you were the hero. Still today, in terms of sit there and try to solve the problem. How did you
the same thing was going to happen again?
In 2007, obviously, I was the year for us to qualify for Beijing. And what had happened, 2007 was back. Then I lost my dad. And so I was not in the right state of mind. And in 2008, I then lost my mother at the same time. From then on, I took a break, and I thought it would be it for me. This thing I've been running since 1997 from school. Olympics aren't going to happen for me. So I left, took a break, lost the parents. I need to prove the rowing wasn't getting paid to row. It was a choice, to row. So no one getting paid. So I took a break, found a job, became a joined for the course. And just end of 2008, in the beginning of 2009, Roger Barrow, the national coach, called me and said, "Hey, Steve, and that's what he's doing." I told him what I was doing, and so much he earned. I told him, "Okay, listen, you can come back to rowing. We'll look after you. What you're earning now, we'll replace it with federation will find some source of money, and try and support you. All you have to do is just train, eat, sleep, and recover." And that was, for me, that was, okay, now you're talking to me, because previously you were just juggling things around. And the guys that I was riding with that didn't qualify, they all returned, then started the selection process, started to build the pool together.
So when you're training for a sport like this where you're working so closely with 3 other people in a boat, how much time are you spending with them? Are you just like together all the time? Are you getting sick of each other? What's it like?
So it was part of the process, so we got sick of each other. But I think the way of dealing with this communication was the key. So that kept things get too much. But as I said, communication was important. Quite often we would have those meetings every week and just to chat about things that we did with the others.
Counseling?
On the country, but we had our team support, and I said team support was the table, if it was unreasonable, I like to talk about it after the meeting. So that's how we dealt with things. But we had the common goal to get to Olympics.
And the national team or team coach at that time reflect on the fact that he hadn't have drawn you back in? I mean, how often do you let yourself think of how your life may have played out, for which, for very good reasons, as you described, no one would have thought any less of you if you had said in 2009, "I'm not going back to that course."
In fact, I go as far as the school because I really enjoy with the help of and from people in the case. I just don't cry.
What do you think you saw?
Young boy, he knew the direction, and he just guided me in the right direction. And when I met him, those things have changed, and he got me to rowing. Didn't have to pay for school fees. I then found a new family.
When you were growing up in South Africa, they were still under apartheid, right?
Yeah, so where I grew up, it was for us. I think about school. So I spent the one month in the college school. They were so that great, so when you're walking with the white, when you're sitting with the white people in the street, it's a sort of a traitor, or sort of, white people all look at you funny when you're walking with a white person, and black people are like, ooh, okay, shock, or maybe more of a surprise. I was a bit nervous, so I was not going to come, I wasn't going to, when you join the squad, the first fraternity was told that more white than enemy.
Skinner, Scott Bassett, and Ed Harris.
Our guest today was the youngest champion in X Games history when in 2017 she won gold the day after her 13th birthday. She first competed at those games aged 11, and that's the record as well. It was gold again at the X Games in 2018, and now with her sport, skateboarding, set to make its Olympic debut in Tokyo, this 16-year-old from the United States will compete for gold in the women's park. Think of a course with a lot of curves,
follow that dishes and poles, you climb those curves, you get the height, and you amaze with your mid-air tricks. Now, for me and most of us, that is easier said than done. But Brighton Zuna is a rare talent. Brighton, welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me and everything. So I think most people, when they skateboarding, they just go to the park. And that's the thing. What did you do? What different things did you do? Skateboarding. I mean, at first, there was no, like, we didn't take, like, or anything. We were just skating and, like, having fun, but